Hello everyone, this is Gene and I'm back with another video. Hopefully this will be somewhat brief, but then again, brief for me is like under a half hour. So let me just get to it. So first things first, I have agreed to a discussion. Let's be honest, it's probably going to turn into a shouting match with the one, the only Ethan Van Sciver over the whole Nerdette's newsstand situation. Now, I will not be going on his channel, as I quite emphatically told him. He said he will come on to mine. I told him that I will let him know when I am available. Now, I wanted to do it last night, but naturally, my laptop was giving me fits, and I can't do live streaming via mobile because I don't have the required 1,000 or so subscribers. So I'm currently working on my laptop issues so that I can live stream. Okay, so I've agreed to it. I do intend to do it. I just need to make sure that I can actually do it. You know what I mean? Before I can set up a time. Now I know, no doubt, that if this takes me a few days, given what Ethan did with Nerdette, he'll probably go on some unhinged rant about me. I don't much care. But if there's anybody in his audience watching, yes, please go tell him that I fully intend to debate him and talk to him about this. I simply need to get my my computer set up to live stream. I don't live stream. I'm not a big fan of live streams. They tend to go on for hours on end, and I don't have the attention span for a 4-hour, 6-hour live stream. So it's going to take me some time, a few days probably, to get set up, especially since again, the YouTube live stream just isn't working for me. So I'm trying to find ways to make it work. If anybody knows, if anybody is familiar with Microsoft operating systems and S mode, you know, please give me some advice, because I spent an hour last night researching how to get out of S mode so I could download Chrome, so I could do the live streaming via webcam. But for the life of me, I couldn't get out of S mode. I really hate the fact that Microsoft starts you out in S mode. It's like, let me choose which mode I want to be in. Especially since I'm not a big fan of Internet Explorer as a browser. I much prefer Firefox, personally, but I have tried several times to get out of S mode, and at least the directions I found online don't seem to work. I've tried downloading OBS, again, and I can't do that because I can't get out of S mode. So the biggest thing right now for me, if I want to be able to live stream anything, whether it's via a stream, right? We have to do this. You have to download an encoder and log in and all this other stuff. Or if I want to do it via webcam, I need to get out of S mode in, I think my system's like Windows 10. I think that's what the laptop came with. So I need to get out of S mode, right? That's right now the big thing holding me back as regarding doing this live stream. I need to get out of S mode so I can download OBS or Chrome or whatever it is, so I can actually do it. It's not a matter of not wanting to do it. It's a matter of I need to make sure that the setup on my end works so this can be done. But I've agreed to it. Ethan's agreed to come on my channel. I did tell him in the comments that I'll let him know when I'm available. Given his behavior, I think that he'll probably start roasting me if I don't follow up in a few days. But you know what? I don't care, because there's no point in doing it if I can't do it, right? Otherwise, it's just going to be a debate back and forth in the comments. And honestly, I want to do this. I want to do this once, and exactly once, to put the matter to bed. We can say our piece, go to our corners, and move on with our lives. Because honestly, the more I encounter Ethan, right, the more I sincerely come to dislike him. And my dislike of him is quickly reaching Wade levels. And that's something. That is something. So I honestly want to get this done as fast as possible. So let him know. because I know that there'll be a few people in his audience watching this. Let him know that I am indeed looking forward, I guess you could say, to speaking with him. I don't think it's going to be a very jolly conversation. I have no desire to laugh with him. And yeah, so it's just that. As soon as I get it set up on my end, I will let him know when I'm available, and we can hash out the details about, you know, when. Because he says on his Twitter that he's in Jersey. I have no idea if that's true. So we'll have to again figure all that out. But the first things first is that I have to make sure that I can actually do this stuff. So once my computer is set up for live streaming, I will then reach out to Caesar himself. So there's that. That's the first thing. The second thing is that I just wanted to make a very quick video. This is more of a, I guess it's Vic related. For those who don't know, that's Vic Mignogna. Just to give a brief overview, especially for those who may not be familiar with the situation, of around late January, early February of last year, there were allegations of sexual misconduct, in particular sexual misconduct with minors, made against Vic Mignogna. He denied it. Then former co-workers of his, such as Jimmy Marchi and Monica Rial and others, started making these accusations without any proof, with no proof, just making wild statements on Twitter. Eventually, in April of last year, Vic got an attorney, and legal proceedings started. There was this whole thing is pretty much fractured. The anime community, especially those who were big fans of Funimation and who were fans of like Dragon Ball, since many of the Dragon Ball related voice actors, such as Sean Schemmel, who voices Goku, and Sonny Strait, who voices Krillin, also put their hat in, right? So yeah, it's pretty much fractured the anime community. And at least last I heard when it comes to legal matters is that Vic filed an appeal because most of his claims, I guess you could say, were initially dismissed by the Judge Chupp, I think it is. But then he filed an appeal, and the appeal, to my knowledge, has been granted. Now, that doesn't mean necessarily that it will end in his favor, but at least the appeal has been granted. So however long that takes, we'll see. So the case is still ongoing. As I said in another video last year covering this, is that law cases, right? Legal disputes, lawsuits take a very, very, very long time. And even when it looks like you're out, even when it looks like you are down, you're really not. Because again, there's the appeals process, and then you can appeal again. It's a very long, drawn out, wrought thing. So, you know, never cry victory when you think that you're on top, and don't give in when you think that all is lost. Because the law has many recourses and reversals of decision and things of that nature. So there's that. But what I wanted to address today is a video that's been floating around of voice actress Amanda Winn Lee. If you don't recognize her name, don't feel bad. Not many people do. She's not exactly a well-known, famous voice actress. I think, to my knowledge, she's best known for the original English dub of Evangelion, Neon Genesis Evangelion, or Evangelion. I have no idea how you say it. But yeah, she's not exactly someone who is well-known and famous within the anime community. But apparently, at a con recently, she basically, in my opinion, honestly, she made a fool of herself. But apparently, excuse me for the voice, but apparently she was trying to roast Vic Mignogna, his attorney Ty Beard, Chuck Huber, who is a friend of Vic and a fellow voice actor who up until recently worked for Funimation. If you don't recognize Vic's name, not sorry, Vic. If you don't recognize Chuck's name, you probably recognize his voice. He's probably best remembered for voicing, Stein in Steins Gate. If you're a '90s shonen manga and an anime fan, you probably know Chuck as the English voice of Hiei from Yu Yu Hakusho. So she's in this room, and there's, how do I put it? She says she wasn't drunk when she said all this. The majority of people who have watched and given their opinion on this video disagree. And I have to admit, watching it myself, let's just say that it would not surprise me if she were wine drunk when she did this. But anyway, so she starts going in trying to roast them. Keep in mind, no one she was trying to roast was there. The point of a roast is to, have the person there, right? And personally, for me, as someone who grew up in the black community in the 1990s in New York City, someone who has seen people play the dozens, for those who may not be familiar with the term, it's basically a insult game. It's usually been represented on TV as yo mama jokes, like yo, I can't get it out right. Yo mama so fat, yo mama so ugly, yo mama so dumb, those type of things, right? It's not just those type of jokes, but that tends to be like the prevailing stereotype of the dozens. So having just seen that, right, growing up in the community I grew up in, I'm watching her and I'm just cringing. And I hate to use the word cringe because it's just so overused, but literally, it is cringy. It is nearly 6 minutes of cringe and of her trying to win over an audience that isn't really all that interested. There's a few awkward claps and laughs there. But again, you can just feel the nervousness, right, and the discomfort coming off of them. And the funny thing is that even before she starts, right, the first thing she asks is, "Are there any I Stand with Vic people in the audience?" When nobody responds, right, then she goes into her little tirade. Now, in the aftermath of this, she's been saying that, it wasn't supposed to be recorded, and fair point, right? Yeah, the recorded did break the rules. I'm of the opinion of, if you're a voice actor in a room and the rules say don't record, best believe that at least one person in there is recording it, because people just don't like rules, right? And the moment you tell somebody what to do or what not to do, they are just gonna, at least one person's gonna go, "Oh, really?" And they're gonna do it. But here's the thing: while she does have a point that it shouldn't have been taped, it doesn't change the fact that she said what she said, right? And she said this in a room of people that she felt were like-minded, like her. So she felt like she was in a safe space. So she spoke her piece, right? The fact that it was taped does not change what she said. And what she said, again, was just bad. If she was attempting to roast 3 people, the one person she roasted ultimately was herself, with her poor humor and throwing up the rock horns and throwing up middle fingers. First of all, that's cultural appropriation, to throw up the rock horns. Okay, Ronnie James Dio is just turning over and crying in his grave. That's not right. But seriously, right? She's throwing up rock horns and she's throwing up middle fingers like she's some edgy rocker. It's like, girl, no, you're not. You're not. Okay? You're just doing what, sadly, a good chunk of the anime community did, which is just side with with Monica and Jamie and the whole kick Vic side for no other reason than, I don't even know at this point, because kick Vic and their accusations just keep being disproven time and time and time again. But I guess they just want to stand in opposition to Vic and his supporters. The funny thing is that in the beginning of what ultimately turned into a self roast, she makes a joke about how Vic isn't here. Well, neither of the 14-year-old girls he touched. F yeah. I'm like, you mean the 14-year-old girls that Anime News Network lied about and were caught in a lie about? You mean those girls? The girls who actually had to come out on Facebook and on other various forms of social media and say that, hey, Anime News Network never interviewed us. They stole our pictures, or at least one girl said that, to be fair. One girl said that, I think her name was like Carrie or Casey or something to that effect. She said that Anime News Network had never interviewed her, was totally misrepresenting the situation shown in the photos, and that they had used her photos without her permission. So, yeah, those 14-year-old girls who have come to Vic's defense when it comes to the baseless accusations against him. Those 14-year-olds, right? And the biggest thing about this 6-minute cringe fest is the fact that it just reminded me personally of how much I cannot stand a coward, right? To me, there's a difference between someone who doesn't do the right thing out of fear and then someone who's just a coward, right? Like, think, for example, like someone is supposed to testify against the mob, right? And suddenly when they actually get to court, right? Suddenly it's, I don't remember, I don't recall, things of that nature. And then you find out, oh, they said that because, day before trial, Jimmy Two Fingers came by to visit, right? It made sure that they would tell the truth, which of course works in the mob boss's favor. I understand when people do that. I'm not trying to condone that, because all that does ultimately is just reinforce to the mob that they can intimidate people. But I do understand when people don't do the right thing out of legitimate fear. I get that. But what Amanda Winn Lee did was just pure cowardice. She is not woman enough. She doesn't have the ovaries to stand before Vic or Ty or Chuck or anybody who is I stand with Vic and say these things or anything close to them in front of them. She needs to be in a room of like-minded people to say these things, right? Then she'll actually speak her piece, although obviously, given the crack about the 14-year-old girls, she's either lying or she's not educated on the matter. So to me, that's just plain cowardice. If you won't stand before the very people you are bad-mouthing. So that's that. That's my opinion on it. Amanda Winn Lee. The funny thing is that, in my opinion, for all of her self-roast, ultimately 6 minutes of just painfully watching a woman roast herself without knowing it, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if she was saying these things just to, look good in the mainstream anime industry, but I highly doubt this is going to result in any work for her. I don't see her getting a job at Funimation or any major studio anytime soon, because here's the thing. Even bad people, right? Even cowards don't respect other cowards, right? Weakness in general is not something people respect, especially when it comes to moral weakness of especially like of this sort, right? Right? Weakness is generally seen as something that is either something you pity or something you disdain. So if this was, again, if this was somehow her trying to show that hey, I don't like Vic either. I don't like Vic either. It's not going to get her any work. It isn't going to restart her career. Because guess what? The very people that she's trying to impress are not going to be impressed with her either. So again, she just self-roasted, and just metaphorically speaking, we make this clear. Metaphorically speaking, shot herself in the foot. So really, either way, I don't see this working out well for her. And perhaps that's the best punishment of all in this, right? So anyway, that's the video. Let me know what you think, and I will see you guys around. Bye.